So next up, Will, we've already introduced him. He's the partner at Corinthian Wealth Management, and he's going to be giving you a financial checklist that you should be thinking and working through as a software sales professional in the UK. He's been working specifically with SaaS sales leaders and ICs for the last 4+ years. And as he mentioned, he got his start working, I guess, with his brother's account and building up his contact network base from there. But one of the cool things, actually, spending time from Will, and we don't always have this in SaaS sales, is just pure credibility. He knows what he's talking about, and that's important when it comes down to your wealth management. So round of applause for Will, please.
Thank you, James, and good timing. I think it is working. There we go, lovely. So I think what I'll start with, is by coming to the front, is saying, look, financial planning is incredibly personal. There's no way that I'm going to be able to put a very in-depth, personalised presentation to a room full of people, but that's not the approach we're taking. I've had thousands of meetings with leaders and ICs over the last 6 years at hundreds of different software businesses. These are 6 key things that we always talk about. Now, everybody goes down different paths. Everyone's got different commission structures. Everyone's got different businesses, whether it be early stage startup or some of the big giants like the Salesforces of the world. But these are 6 key areas that we focus on and just make sure that we've discussed, have documented, and we know we're not missing anything. So hopefully, as the sign of any good presentation, you've got something you can take away and action. Pensions. God, it wouldn't be a financial presentation if I didn't talk about pensions, to be honest. There we go. They are important, right? I get it. They're not the most exciting product in the world. I spend my life reading pension documentation, talking about the value of them. That's a difficult thing to try and invigorate salespeople about. You've just worked 9-12 months for a massive deal. You've been paid your commission. Now I'm telling you to fund your pension. It's a tough sell. But there's a couple of things I'd like you to all check. You've all got active pension schemes. You should do through your employer. The first thing to check is that your contributions are being made by salary sacrifice. Now, how you can check that is by logging into your portal. So Scottish Widows, for example, with Salesforce. I think Scottish Widows with Blue Prism as well, off the top of my head. Making sure that there's just one contribution from the employer. That tells you that your contribution is being made by the employer and it has been salary sacrificed. Without spending 10 minutes on this topic alone, although a very important one, if that's not the case, you could be owed tax. Now, if you have questions about that, please talk to me after, because we found, and I mean found, not made, not planned, not advised, found, by just being more organised, tens of thousands of pounds for people. Found a sales leader the other day, $7,000 of tax. Found. That's not my job, but it's a good thing to start with. Are you getting the maximum matching? For instance, you join a company, you're an IC, you don't care about the pension contributions. I know, I hear it every day. But don't just join with a basic. If you're paying 4%, they're paying 4%. And if you paid 5%, they pay 5%. That's an extra 1% for free. Look at those sorts of things, right? You're working hard to make money. Sometimes tiny little tweaks by just being aware and being organised can actually help you. And again, if you can increase your contributions, you save your marginal tax rate. If you're a 45% taxpayer, 40% taxpayer, paying into a pension, you're 40% off better. Straight away, instantly. Again, I know they're not exciting, but they are efficient. Please use them. So that's point 1, checking company pension contributions. We do that as a first step. Regardless of whether the client even signs up with us, we do that for them because it's quite serious. Default pension strategies. Again, you join a new company, you look at it, you go, yeah, I'll sign up. I know I need to be in it. You're not going to be thinking about the investment strategy. You're going to go for the default. You're going to click balanced. The word balanced, I was going to say keep me up at night. It doesn't really. Other things keep me up. But balanced pension strategies are not the solution. Now, again, I can't give any personal advice, but looking around the room, many of you are far from retirement age. You should not be in a balanced investment strategy. Balance tells me it's defensive. You need to be in growth-orientated strategies. Please seek advice before you change it clearly, but don't just settle for the default. We see huge amounts of missed opportunity because people don't take the time to think about investment strategy. Lifestyling, that's highlighted because that's one of the key threats we see. George talked about points of view. If I over the top of my head, points of view for software sales professionals, multiple pensions, because you guys move around a lot, it's fair to say. The average tenure for an IC is 15 months, I believe. That's a lot of companies in your career. Leadership's less than 2 years as well. So I'm sure lots of people in the room have moved around a lot. Tax inefficient because of the nature of your comp structures. You've got a basic, OTEs, RSUs, ESPPs. There's lots of tax complexities and you missed opportunities. and just majorly underprepared for retirement because of a few key themes that I'm highlighting here. So that's the point of view. Lifestyling is a default pension strategy where your funds de-risk as you get closer to retirement. So again, might not be relevant for many people in the room, but just to be aware of, if your funds de-risk before you even start taking money, you could miss out on growth over the longer term. So this isn't about funding more. It's not about all this technical tax advice. This is just doing the basics well. And we talk about that a lot. Again, questions I'm happy to talk about later. Global equities have been proven to be the best defense against inflation. That's why we all invest. We work really hard to earn our commissions, hit your OTE, high performance is another driver, but we all want the financial rewards. Leaving your money doing nothing in a bank account, getting chewed up by inflation, it's just undoing that hard work. Getting it invested in global equities has been the best defense against it over hundreds of years. So who are we to question it? As I said, one of the sort of common challenges we see, and one of the first steps is doing a pension review. Whether you're a leader or IC, the worst I've seen, sales leader 51 had 17 pensions. I don't even enjoy thinking about that process, the amount of admin involved. But the reason we had to do it was because they were left unmanaged. They were in these default funds. They were in these lifestyling funds that weren't even beating inflation. So this gent was so underprepared for retirement, didn't have enough saved, didn't have an idea when he could, wasn't even sure how he'd even get there. And his existing investments, which are part of his plan, weren't beating inflation. That's fundamentally wrong, if nothing else. Pensions are central to your tax efficiency, and I'm yet to meet a salesperson that doesn't want to reduce the amount they pay in tax. And I'm sure I'm not alone here in the room of people that feel the same. We're financial advisors, wealth managers, planners, investment managers, whatever you want to call us politely, but we do take the duty of care to help people understand their comp structures. We're not part of the sales leadership team, but what we want to explain to you is if you're on a 100 basic, 100K OTE, which is fairly common, enterprise accounts, what is this actually after tax? It's about 116, for anyone who's wondering, which is about nine and a half a month. It's not paid monthly, it'd be very nice, it is lumpy, but if your total costs are 3, 4, 5 grand a month, then you should have some understanding of what you could save. If you're clear on what you could save, you're more likely to make better decisions. If you go into accelerators, how does that help? Yes, it helps with lump sum commissions, but you need to consider tax. Tax obviously increases the more you earn, and it's about having just an idea of what you could save. Because I'm sure everybody can relate to this, you are stuck in that relentless quarterly cycle. I've heard it so many times. Finish the end of year, I'm not thinking about doing my tax year end planning. I'm thinking about Q1 and how I've got no pipeline. And I'm thinking about kickoff, or I'm thinking about President's Club, and then suddenly I'm panicking because I haven't done anything. It's the relentlessness of what you do actually inhibits people from making some fairly simple decisions. So just be clear on what you're earning, because that's why you're doing it, I'm sure. Links in nicely to this. We meet lots of people who, when we ask them about their goals, tell us it's about earning 300 now. It's like, it's got to be something else. That doesn't. I'm not trying to be esoteric. I get it. You're ambitious, but there's got to be something else. So what is it you actually need to earn? And again, I'm very interested in what your career goals are on a personal level. We have quite intimate relationships with clients. It's a very personal relationship that we have. Is IC for you, or is leadership is something that you want to move into? Are you looking for the startup and the big exit event, or actually are you quite happy to, say happy, it's not the comfortable approach, but working at a massive established vendor and hoping to just maximize your commissions that way? It's different paths. I've got clients that sit in both camps equally as successful. It's what's important to you. We get one career, we've got a couple of decades. How can we maximize it? And finally, kind of wraps it all up, doesn't it? What are you doing it all for? How much do you need? Knowing your numbers. You have a plan for your FY, you have a plan for your quarter. We do need to have a plan for retirement, for life, and that's obviously what we do. And that's the first step in our process, is helping people to visualize what the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years looks like. Because then we can start to work back. And if we're not clear on what we need to do every year, then we know we're missing opportunities. So those are the sort of 6 key areas. We focus on the current pensions, we focus on the investment strategies, we focus on what your income is, what your comp structures are, and ultimately what is this all for? Because we all need a plan, and it's not just about how you're going to hit your number. And hopefully it's something that you can all take away. Thank you for coming.